Good evening and hello everyone, it is Starlie and I'm bringing you another plugin tutorial video. Today's plugin is Envoys. It is not crazy Envoys, believe it or not. There is a difference between the two Spigot plugins. Envoys is one that is a premium plugin, you do have to pay for it, but assuming that you've already made the terrible mistake of purchasing this plugin, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use it because there is not a lot of tutorials. I seriously could not find one, if not any, on this plugin at all. There are a ton of videos for the crazy Envoys, but it is a different plugin. And from what I understand, that one is a little bit easier to use. So if you already have not picked an Envoys or Crates plugin, I suggest going with that one, or go with something a little bit different because this plugin does kind of suck. But besides all that, I'm going to go ahead and give you the rundown today. Now that you have the plugin installed on your server, you could do this and see the list of things that it'll allow you to do. First and foremost, the most important thing you should know how to do is edit with this plugin. For example, it is a little bit difficult. If you want random crates to spawn, it is inconsistent, it is scattery. If you want them randomly all over the map, that's probably the preferred option. If you have a game mode similar to what my server runs, which is called Warzone, it is like a Call of Duty Battle Royale-esque kind of game mode where you could go in, it's a free-for-all. PvP is enabled, but there's chests that spawn in specific locations with different rarities. I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of both. You do need to change the configs in order to play with one or the other in order to get it to work, because I noticed when I had the random crate spawning, it would not allow me to use the set spawned crates, and this is why I kind of mentioned that this plugin's not the best. It's just inconsistent and a little fluttery. But anyway, let's just assume you want to build a game mode like the one that I have running today. So first and foremost, you're going to want to understand Envoy's edit. So in here, you could add items and you get to have the different tiers for your crates. I believe in the configs you could add the tiers, meaning like if you want more tiers or less tiers, you could edit that in with the config. I'm not going to go over that today. I might release that in a separate video. What I'm just going to go over is the in-game and how to do it correctly. So I have it set up so that way there's common crates, uncommon, rare, legendary, and mythical. This kind of goes along with some of the ranks that I have inside my server. Let me pull this back up. For example, common, I have some of the crate keys. I have some armor, like Arthur's armor. I have some food, and then I'll add items later on. So let's just assume that I want to add a new crate inside of my Warzone lobby. I have it set up in the config so that way it'll allow me to spawn new chests, right? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do Envoys create. I'm going to create a common crate with a 40% chance of spawning. So now that that is set up, you're going to want to remember that the 40 down here is any percentage, so that's 1 through 100. Common is also the tiers that you have selected and or set up inside of your configs file. So now that your Envoy is successfully created, it should refill with the next Envoys. So if I want to now add items, let's say that, let me just bring out a random diamond chest piece armor. Completely vanilla, right? So let's say that I want to add this to my Envoys and I just want to add it to my common crates. So I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to items. I'm going to drag this item onto that emerald block. I'm going to press escape, and then now in chat it's going to ask me to type a name for the config. This name can be anything, preferably the shorter the better. If you name it, for example, like diamond plate, instead of spelling it all the way out, it makes it a little bit easier to transfer. So now I'm going to make this diamond plate with a 40% chance to spawn. So now that I have added that into my config files, I'm going to go back into my Envoys edit. I'm going to go over to my tiers list and I'm going to add it to any one of the tiers that I want to add. I'm going to add it to uncommon as well as common. So I'm just going to type DP, which is the name of the item that I listed in the config. Now that that has been added to uncommon, I might as well add it to common as well. So now anytime you want to add any item with that name to any different tier, you just have to remember the name. It's best if you write it down, if you take pictures, or if you just memorize kind of like I do. I just make it simpler, and the simpler the better. DP for diamond plates. You could come up with different acronyms that might work just as well for that too. So now that we have got that underway, let's just say that I have my common crates in and I want to see if they're working inside the map. I've went around, I've placed, I've done my Envoys create, I've done my names, and I've done my chances, and now that I've done that and I've added some items into them, I want to see if it's working inside the map. So with that, I'm going to do Envoys refilled. It will take a second to refill. All of a sudden you'll see the chest falling from the sky, as you currently do, and we'll see if one spawns. So it looks like with that 40% chance to spawn, it wasn't happening. But let's just say, for example, this is one that I set earlier with a little bit higher of a chance. It spawned right here. This is all of the common items and the different percentages. So when you give those different chances to those items, it makes it so that way they're not guaranteed every time. It's random, and it's nice for players too. This is a key that I use for my crates on my server. If you guys want a plugin video for that as well, I will release that soon into the future. This plugin video is not very long or in depth because a lot of the features in this plugin don't exactly work. So if you want to try to do Envoys, and let's say that I want to add the current item that I'm holding, right? So I do current, and this lists all of the current crates that are available inside the map that I'm listing. You could also, so now I'm going to move on to add item. This is something that I've noticed does not exactly work well with this plugin. So let's say that I want to add an item, and I'm holding it in my hand, and I give it a name. Let's just call it test 1 and a chance. Let's give it a 40% chance. So actually, my bad, let me do this. So you add item, then you're gonna do test 1, and then you're gonna do 40% chance. This is how it should look, and it will work this way. But for example, let's say that I wanted to add this onto my Envoys. Let's just say I wanted to add it to a tier on my Envoys, and I bring it over here. I click common, and I click add test 1. It says invalid item. This item must be added into the config, even though if I were to go check the config, it would indeed be inside of that plugin. So this is a good way to get your server some random items if you just like them to spawn randomly across the map. Let's say if you've got a faction server and you want to promote people to explore, you just turned on the random spawning across the map, and it does work. It's just spotty. It's not consistent. They spawn kind of in random locations. Really random locations is what I mean, but if you like that, then that's good. If you want a game mode, for example, where it's a kit PvP, it's some kind of war zone where players can bring items back that they brought from here back to their homes. You could pretty much do whatever you want with this plugin. It is pretty unique. You could even set it up so that way there's Easter egg hunts. The limits are endless as far as what kind of game modes you want to come up with. I hope this video helped you today. I hope that you guys can leave a sub and like if you truly enjoyed the video, and or if it helped you at all. Thank you so